Guys, it's not audible to me. Anybody speaking?
No, sir, we have still not started.
We have still not started. Just waiting for some more members.
Is Kalyan full busy in sending quotations?
I'm doing a final review of my presentation. Don't worry. No quotations. When we'll start in another 5 minutes or 3.
I think hope we can start, I think, because 32 people has come and already, and everyone is YouTube also is there.
Sandeep, can you unmute and start?
Sandeep ji, we should start. Let's start with it. Let's get on.
Ketan, can you unmute?
Good afternoon, everyone. We are here in RATA, Hyderabad, as you all know, and we welcome our president, and we also have our headquarter team. We welcome Mr. Mihir and other members from headquarters. Uh, Again, we have come up with another set of information for our members here. As you all know, that RATA is a young association for giving you not only the technical, even the assistance on a part of that on a commercial aspect. RATA has been instrumental supporting dealers, MSMEs, and other aspects of industry, and they are approaching central governments and many places, even the state governments, to provide various supports to industry. Today, we have come up with another series of RATA webinars with another two important aspects. One is the project management for our industry, and second is doing a project. The another aspect comes as a safety. But before we move into these topics, I would request our president, Mr. Shrikant Papineni, to address the gathering.
Good afternoon, all. I'm Shrikant Papneni from Hyderabad, RATA Hyderabad chapter, and I welcome all the headquarters people to the live this chat. And this was RATA is doing this was a Zoom meeting. The Hyderabad chapter is the first meeting, and in this meeting we are going to explain Mr. Kalyan, having more than 33 years of experience, he is going to about the safety of the everything. And the Kalyan words normally every time any meeting of his office starts. As per my information, first it will be starting with the safety, and then only the actual meeting goes on. So I'm seeing him from last 5-6 years. He is doing the continuously like this. And second, our Guruji, doctor, teacher, professor, RVSS Pesal. If you miss his presentation, you will be losing something. His presentation is excellent and very informative. And this session, I'm personally going to listen the same session that this is the third time. Third time also I'm ready to listen, see that how much it is there. And regarding the RATA Hyderabad chapter, we had made some dealers of Hyderabad also into one group, and they are going to become again the members. And we have approached the KTR. So we are very much happy that from the CM's word, AC people can work. Listening to that word, we are very much happy that we CM recognized AP guys, not like a other states or electricians. He is recognizing, so we are very much happy. And over to Sandeep.
Thank you, President. It is really encouraging that our state chief minister recognizes our industry. Adding to my earlier words about that, how RATA is supporting the industry, I just want to take a minute and give you a brief about it. That if you have seen that during this COVID, there was so much of speculation that how we are going to survive, because we are not earning. We are for almost 45 days. None of us have earned a single penny, but still, the 3 cheers goes to the entire industry people that we have maintained regularly paying our employees. So that's a good part. At that point of a time, RATA has approached many bodies together to see that the information and the requirement reaches to the central government, that what kind of a support our industry needs. So that is where RATA is getting support. We all have technical bodies who are supporting on a technical aspect, but these things where we need some support is where you have RATA in place. And so I request many of participants. Today we have almost 41 participants. So join hands together, join RATA, and there we can bring in a kind of a platform where our voice, other than technology, can reach to the decision makers. Now coming to the part is that today, as President said, that we have two topics to start with. One is the safety and second is the management. First, we talk about safety. as that is a priority on COVID part of it. So we have our Mr. Kalyan Raman. He is a seasoned techno-commercial industry expert with almost 33 years of an work. He is a managing director of Shri Comfort, which is a leading South Indian Daikin service support company. He's a man of society. He has been in a past president of ASHRAE, and he was instrumental of governing in a very seasoned theme called Safe and Green. That is where the safety is inherent into his soul. Beside that, he is also active in many other societies. He's a secretary for ISHRE, and he has also made an active role as a chair finance for a recently conducted REF event, which has happened. So then this is about Mr. Kalyan, who will be talking about safety, and then after we have the another gentleman. The words will be less to talk about the teacher, as our president had talked about, Dr. RVSS Prasad. He is the head business development for a company called Pavani Engineers, over 30 years of experience. And if you actually go into the collateral, we all talk about the black belt. The black belt in our young age, we have talked about that the black belt, which basically talks about karate and all, but he is a black belt for Six Sigma. Six Sigma is a concept which basically gives you a guideline that how to run a basic manufacturing as well as a trade or any other kind of a business. He is instrumental. He is expert into fields like project management, program management, leadership excellence, critical chain project management, air conditioning system. He's a good designer. He leads many platforms. He is also a regular speaker in institutes like JNTU, NMIS, and the list is so on. We can only say that both Mr. Kalyan and Mr. RVSS Prasad are the asset of Hyderabad. So thank you very much, both of you, for agreeing to share your knowledge at this platform. I request Mr. Kalyan to please take a lead. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I always have a habit of any project meeting to start with safety. So this, when we said we will have the project management, I said we need to start with safety. So I said, okay, I've taken the responsibility of putting safety first into the program. Then, mine is a very small part, to be honest, but it is a very important part in any project. And the important thing is the project management, which will be taken by the very well experienced person, Mr. Dr. RVSS Prasad. I will start sharing my screen now. Yeah. See, my point here is safety is the only way to do any project. Without safety, it is better not to do. So when you start the project, please look at the safety aspect in every angle. There are many reasons why we need to look at safety being in HVAC industry. HVAC industry go through many challenges, and this will be my contents: health and safety policy, organization chart, PPEs, height work safety, brazing work, toolbox talks, site proactive activities. This is general agenda of safety on this today's meeting. And being in air conditioning industry, we deal with four important issues. Like one is we work on heights. And second one is we work on high voltage. We work on high temperatures like brazing, welding, and other things we do. Then we also work on high pressure gases. So this we need to be very clear that the safety is very important in our way of working. It is a part of your work culture we should take, and safety should be taken very seriously, not only by the people working at the site, even at the management level, because without safety it is very dangerous, as we deal with all the four important high sequences like voltage or temperature or even pressure, high pressure gases. Many times had some issues on high pressure gases. I have seen some of the issues which we have undergone in the last 33 years. I have seen one or two issues and one or two people having some problems with the high temperature as well as the high pressure, and also in heights. Many times we see many paper cuttings coming saying that person working there has fallen or some issues or something like that. Please keep safety as a very important in your work culture in your company, and this has to be driven none other than the management first, and this has to be a practice made by all your people down the line. So what is safety? First, we should have a dedicated safe and healthy policy for the company. We should have a policy, and the policy should represent very clearly uh, uh, in your company. It should be put as a policy, safety and health policy. This should be very clearly there. And what is the goal? You should have a goal to ensure safety to all your employees and workers, to provide necessary safety equipment and tools to ensure safety of workers, to reduce all risks faced by our workers while doing their work, to ensure that all activity is carried on safely. Safety is the goal we should have, safety goal we should have. And also, what is the responsibilities? As a management, what is our responsibility? Will provide whatever safety issues as far as possible, a safe working environment, a safe system of work, plant and substances in safe condition, facilities for the welfare of workers, whatever safe facilities we should provide, we should provide. We should not have any issue on that. Information, training, and supervision is a very important thing. Not only we should have safety stickers and safety posters put in sites everywhere, and it should be reasonably visible, so that, and there should proper training and supervision be there. If you have more workers working on a single site, you should have a safety engineer who takes care of safety of all your people who are working at the site. And we should also have a commitment to consult and cooperate with workers in all relating to health and safety. Today, we talk more about health. It is also very important. If people are not healthy at site, it is better to remove, not to show your numbers at site. And today, even the customer will not accept now. But earlier, we used to put numbers so that people thoda fever hai, thoda cough hai, chalo. No, it is not possible. We should have a clear person who have good health condition only should be allowed to work, and we should not allow any people who are having any small health issues should be allowed to work. And a commitment to continually improve our performance through effective safety management. So it is not only the part of management, it is also part of worker. They have to comply with the safe work practices with the intent of avoiding injury to themselves and others and damage the plant and equipment. Take reasonable care of the health and safety of themselves and others. And they have to wear the personal protective equipment and clothing wherever it is necessary. Then comply with any direction given by management for health and safety. Time to time, we should also give a proper guidance to all the workers as well as the engineers and supervisors at site, and make sure they strictly follow the safety norms and procedures. Not to misuse or interfere with anything provided with health and safety. Report all accidents and incidents on the job immediately, no matter whatever the travel is. So please ask your engineer or even your worker to report any small deviation from the safety or any accidents or incidents, so that we get to know record and we can overcome the next time. Report all known and observed hazards to the supervisor and manager. This is the worker from their side they have to do. So generally what we have put is how to do this application of policy and other things and all. So you should have very clear policy in your company. The policy should be put in your notice board, in your working area, in your sites, everywhere, so that people think always about safety before getting into the work. This should be the primary responsibility of the management as well as the engineers at site, your supervisors at site. So this is a simple organization chart. We should have what is the hierarchy of your safety, to whom they should report, and what they should do in terms of any safety issues. And these are all the PPEs what we generally use, like safety belt, goggles, then you have helmet, gloves, and so on. Now we have another new thing called face mask, which we need to start wearing when we go outside. So, person, you have only one body, so take care of your ears, eyes, everywhere. Your safety gloves, reflective clothing. Sometimes reflective clothing is very important in many of the sites nowadays. Even the client himself is making sure that you follow safety. So, and safety shoes. Without safety shoes, don't enter into any sites. So these are all already set norms which we have. Safety helmet is there. So these are all set norms which many of the uh, bigger companies do. My suggestion is make sure that we follow even for smaller sites. It is not important that because customer is insisting safety, so we go for safety. Safety is important in even a small site or any simple site. So it is not the customer who has to insist. It is the company as a HVAC company. We should insist that safety is very important, because many times we go only on the customer insistence that L&T है तो both safety follow करना है, GMR है तो follow करना है. It's not like that. It is a safety which have to be inborn from your management side or your own team side. Make sure that your team insist on safety. If if they don't have proper safety, better not to start the work. That is very clear. And as I said, height is a very bigger issue in our many sites. We need to take care of height hazards. We have to ensure a proper and safe anchoring point and ensure safe access and agrees to and from work at the height. Then we should have a proper regular monitoring and inspection of the harness, full body harness, regular monitoring to ensure workers wearing and anchoring full body harness properly, and height work related to training to be conducted to all works. When there is a height work, there should be a special training given to all the workers on how to handle height. Because many people have height phobia. We should not use anybody who has got height phobia into a site where we need to do a height work, because this is very, very dangerous, and we need to make sure that height works are done only by specialists who have experience and who can manage the heights. Then brazing work, we have to use appropriate PPEs, face shield, then leather hand gloves, aprons should be provided for workers who indulge in welding and brazing works. Ensure and remove nearby combustible material. This is something very, very important. Many times we do welding, and below, there are items which are fire hazard, and they catch fire, and then it becomes, sometimes people work on a fifth floor welding and welding, and they have a fire in the ground floor. So make sure that you don't you look at the nearby areas and make sure it is removed, then only you work. Otherwise, make sure you inform the customer. And fire extinguisher is a must for any hot works, welding works or brazing works. Make sure you have a fire extinguisher. This happens in many of the MNC sites, but not happens in a normal site, which we have to make sure that it happens. The in any importance, any bigger sites, fire extinguisher is there when we do a welding or brazing. Even in a smaller site, it should be there. And work-related hazards and precautions have to be briefed to workers. Workers should know what issues they will have, what problems they will face. All these things they should know well in advance, so that many times we send new worker, and before sending the worker, make sure that you train them what is going to work and what are the safety precautions you should do. Don't expect your site engineer to do, or your mechanic to tell them what sort of issues they can have. We should make sure that safety induction is done before he is put into the job. Then it is always preferred to have a toolbox talk. Call the people and just apprise them in the site. If you have a safety engineer, the safety engineer can do the toolbox talk. Or if you have your own engineer, senior engineer going to the site, even at least once in a week, you should make a toolbox talk, and apprise them about the safety and other issues. These are all some of the site activities we do. Like, we also train them how to use a fire extinguisher. It is not only great to have a fire extinguisher with you. You should also know how to use a fire extinguisher. Many times people don't know how to use a fire extinguisher. You should have a small training on fire extinguisher. Even the supplier of fire extinguisher himself. Many times we do. This is some of the site photos. This is the fire extinguisher training, which we do regularly at site. And there should be some motivational programs, to the workers who maintain safety. You can start with giving some tokens, like those who are wearing proper PPEs and other things should be given a small token of gift or something like that. Or similarly, you can also find a person who for a month who is a safe person for the month. Whoever is deviating, you can call him and separately counsel him that, because there are many times even the customer shares your person is not wearing this, wearing that, and all that. So these are all the things which we should make sure. We should ensure that we should encourage people who are practicing the safety methods and safety working procedures. So this is something very important. And now to start with, now we have to start doing this COVID-19 precautions, like washing hands, avoid contacts, and face masks. Cover when you cough or sneeze, and clean and disinfect often. So this is something which we need to keep showing, because I thought this is also a safety slide which we have to start including from now on. Thank you very much. I leave it to Prasad now, who can take over for a project management. Prasad, thank you very much. I think I have to stop sharing the 1 minute. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Am I audible? That was a wonderful talk, Kalyan. In fact, safety has to be taken seriously. Safety cannot be given a second preference. The first preference should always be the safety. So here I am. My name is Prasad RVSS. As Sandeep has introduced me, and thanks to Srikanth Papanini for so nice words about me. I am currently with Pavani Engineers, and I have over 30 years of experience in various activities. So going to the topic that we have today, project management. Being a project manager is like being an artist. You have the different colored processes, streams combining into a work of art. That's what Greg Simrosty has told. And I also strongly believe that project management is not a simple job. It's like it's both an art and science of managing. When I say a science, it is basically the processes, the techniques, the tools, and whatever the systems that we have used for the project management is a science. Whereas the art is using the right tool for the right activity and ensuring that you are taking the entire project team along with you and doing the completing the project on time. So that's what I mean by, when I say project management is both a science and art. So basically what we are going to discuss today, let us discuss a few issues in the project. What is a project, and kind of what is a project life cycle? What are the deliverables, and how to manage projects effectively? I would encourage you to keep writing questions in the comments box, and we'll have the last 10-15 minutes to answer the questions that you might have. Okay, what are the issues that we face in projects? I am now more in particular HVAC projects that are faced by the dealers. Dealers in the sense, in my consideration, they are the people who will be executing small projects like split ACs or package units or VRF systems up to small capacity. They are doing a lot of retrofit jobs. This is my understanding about the dealers whom we are talking about here. Those are the projects that they will be handling. So basically, these are not very big air conditioning projects as such, but they are definitely good enough to be considered as projects, and we face a lot of issues in the projects. So what kind of issues that we face in the project? Unrealistic expectations. This is one major issue that we have been seeing in projects. And not only now, I have been into projects for the last 30 years, and this is one area which has not changed. Unrealistic expectations, meaning that if tomorrow or day after tomorrow they want to start their office premises or shop or complex, then they will ask you to start the work today, and by tomorrow everything has to be completed. And they'll think that it is easy to do all the things. What is there? Just coming and fixing an air conditioner, right? What else is there? So there are a lot of unrealistic expectations that are there. Frequent scope change, maybe it is more related to bigger air conditioning projects, but what happens there is a lot of times the scope remains, the scope keeps changing, and the duct keeps changing, that duct routing keeps changing, the pipe routing keeps changing, copper piping also changes, the electrical cabling wires, from where you are going to take will change, and suddenly the location of the unit itself will change. So many things, it will start, and they expect that, these are all very simple. You are just putting it from one location to the other, and as simple as that for the customer or for, many other people who will be managing the show. But actually, when you have decided everything, you identified what is the requirement of copper piping, you brought some copper pipe there, and, identified workers also to complete the job, and suddenly the entire routing is changed. You don't have the copper pipe again. You have to wait for completing the project. So these are these are the things that will definitely that will delay the entire project also, and also will cost the project. Payments are stopped. This is a free. This is the less I talk about it, the better. And RATA, in fact, is conducting several webinars how to handle the payments part. So I will not go there now. Frequent rework. Naturally, when there is a scope change, there is a rework. Low quality work. This is what happens, when you are forced to do something in a short amount of time, then naturally the quality of the work will suffer. And these are several things that happen. So what is the result? What happens, because of this? The people on the site, the people who are managing the project, or the customers or the consultant, nobody will be happy when the projects get delayed and projects keep changing, and because of that you create a stressful environment. So I finished the project on time and on budget. Okay, very good. So what next? You will get a project with less time and less money. That is what is the order of the day. So which means that if you have done project on time earlier, then next project you will have very less money and less time as well. So now what is a project all about? A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product or service. What do you mean by unique product or a service? This is as per the guidelines given as per the PM Book of Knowledge or Project Management Body of Knowledge, PMBOK we call it, by the Project Management Institute, USA. The project is a temporary endeavor. That means it has certain time duration. A project has certain objectives to be fulfilled, and a project needs to be completed within a span of time, and it has a start date as well as an end date. And more important thing is it has uncertainty attached to that. So it has objectives, it is time bound, and it has uncertainty limited to that. So that is why project management becomes very, very tricky when it comes. And the earlier project, even if you are done in the same thing, same way, but it is still different because the timelines are different. So why project management in that case? Project management is to ensure that there is a better control of financial, physical, and human resources. Today, we have very limited resources. And if you really look at the expectations of the customer, every time they ask us to reduce the cost. Last time you're done with X cost, X price. So this time, you do it at X minus something. So that means, on one side, your sales margins are coming down, and the human resources, the expectations are going up. The human resources also need to be allocated properly, and you need to control these financial, physical, and human resources to ensure that you have a better financial discipline. That will give you little higher profit margins. Otherwise, they keep eroding every year. Improved customer relationships will get you more customers, shorter development times, lower costs, higher quality, and increased reliability. Increased productivity means that you can do more projects in the same period of time, and you can coordinate well your internal team, which will also give you higher work morale. Now, as I discussed earlier, now let us look at at a bigger picture. As an organization, if you have to analyze why are projects failing, we have seen earlier a few issues which are bothering into the project. But now let us look at why do projects fail. Unclear objectives. Is everyone aware of what is the project all about? Majority of the times, I know that we just call somebody, hey, you just go to Amirpet and complete the project and come back. Or he is already there in Turkapalli, so we will send somebody from here, and then he will join the other person and complete. So we don't even give them enough knowledge about what is the project all about, nor the drawing or what needs to be done. So we just go there and start understanding about the project after reaching the site. This means a project is bound to get delayed or bound to land in problems. So lack of senior management support. Senior management support means very, very important here. What I mean by that, senior management, if you think that, okay, I have allocated a project manager or I have allocated a team for this, so they will complete the project. No, it cannot happen. They have to be given necessary authority, necessary tools, necessary permissions, and also certain level of freedom to handle the projects. So if that is not there, then what will happen is, they will always look for reasons why they could not complete rather than completing the project itself. So lack of effective project integration, inadequate funding. Again, the less I talk about it, the better. This is going to be more challenge in the coming near future because of the current situation that we have. Funds are very, very tight. We don't know from where we will cut, and we all need to be very, very alert and understand what needs to be done. So changes in business priorities, ineffective team. Okay, ineffective team. This is where I really look at this problem from a management perspective. From the management perspective, you want to reduce cost. Okay, so you start adding more and more people at the bottom layer, which means that you are adding freshers or with less and less experience. What will happen to that if you don't have a proper blend of senior team, the senior members as well as the junior members? Then what will happen is, the whole work is done by mostly by the junior members, which means that they don't have the necessary capability to execute the project in the right way. So there are two things that can happen. One, the cost may go up because of the rework, or the time they take more time because they are not very efficient in what they are doing. So this is another thing. Lack of effective communication process. I guess we will discuss about this little later. No proper training. This is a catch-22 situation for all the dealers or as the small entrepreneurs that we have here. No proper training. So if I train a few people, what happens if they leave after getting the trained and after 3 months or 6 months of experience, they just leave the organization and join some other organization. So I will be doing all the base work and somebody else will be taking the fruits. So that is the mindset of majority of the people. But now you ask the second question now, the paradox of that. What happens if he continues with you for 9-10 years without training? Then because he is not trained, he is not effective, nobody else will be taking him, and you have to have him in your own organization, and then he doesn't meet your own requirements as well. So either way it is bad. So best thing is give the training and have the right people, so that at least you get a good customer base. How to manage a project? This is a $1 million question. If even though there are several courses that are there how to manage a project, there are several training institutes that are there teaching, there are several tools, techniques. Even now, more than 50 to 60% of the projects fail in the entire world. So which means that there is a big scope for all of us to enhance this particular skill. Majority of the times we look for technical skills from whomever we are employing. Technical skills in terms of heat load calculation, technical skills in terms of refrigeration design and things like that. But in my observation in the last few years, these have become more and more kind of software driven. You don't do heat load calculation manually now. It is all software. You just need to input certain parameters and you will get the data out. Similarly, the design is more or less taken care by the equipment manufacturer, OEMs. So what you need today is the capability to manage projects, capability to manage people, capability to manage the customers, and ability to understand and adapt to the situation. So this is what you require today. And person need to be able to think ahead in terms of what will be my requirement of the material or manpower, or from the customer side, what are the things that are required. So this is where I guess the project management also is changing. Now, how to manage a project? We have to ensure it starts with the requirement. Basically, requirements. What are the basic requirements? Identifying the requirements. Establishing clear and achievable objectives. What are the objectives? Here in our case, most of the times with the dealers, you already have a PO or a work order with a approved BOQ. Okay, these are the equipment that we need, and this is by time you need, and probably even the payment terms also are identified. So more or less, when you are starting executing a project, with all this you have it. If you don't have it, and if you are only working based on only a word or a simple mail or simple SMS from somebody, then you have a problem. I would recommend you stop that kind of a practices. Get a clear purchase order with all the scope, quality, time, and cost, whatever these things are there, clearly written, spelled out in a document, signed by the customer or customer's representative, then only you move forward. Yeah, I know that in the business it may not be possible all the times, but it is very easy to say that and feel bad at a later instance when you don't get payments. When the choice is yours. So adapting the specifications, plans, and approach to the different concerns and expectations of various stakeholders. Here, it is not just the customer alone who will be part of the entire requirements. We need to work with a lot of other people. For example, the entire work starts with an architect and then a consultant and a lot of other people who will be working on the building. Whenever we go, we normally go even before the fall ceiling is done. And then, we come back once entire building is completed, and then go back to complete our testing, run test and system test and hand over the system. So we have to manage various stakeholders during the process. So if you look at, different activities wise from an activity perspective, if you really look at, we have designs and drawings. This is very, very important aspect of the project, particularly for us in the air conditioning and refrigeration area. Designs and drawings. What happens in the majority of the times, is that we have drawings which are given during the sales stage, which are more than 6 or 8 months old. After that, there would have been at least 8 to 9, 10 times revision that would have happened. Something else would have happened even at the site, even without getting into the drawings. So my sincere advice, my sincere request is, before you even start your project, take the drawing, take the design to the site, verify it, validate it for every measurement at site, including the beams, including the columns and everything, and see whatever the location that you have given in the drawings and approved by the consultant or the architects, and have a clear picture whether the same thing is there at the site or not. If this is not done, then what happens is, today we are sending all the material that is required for the project. We order in one shot, and when we order it, and if there is a shortage or excess, then nobody else will be using that excess material, and customer is going to pay us only for the material that is used and erected. So in that case, whatever the margins that you had, thin margins, even that get eroded without any time. So quickly they can get eroded. So my sincere advice is, go to the site, verify the designs, verify the drawings at the site, and make sure that there is no deviation from the drawings that are given to you, that which you are working with, and the actual site condition. This is precisely a basic requirement. Then comes the resource management. Resource management these days, every customer is asking for a site supervisor to be placed available at the site, and this is something that that has been going on in the recent past, but we cannot ask for an additional resource. Generally what happens is, in the contracts there is no specific rate for any resources to be available at the site, but they are going to be cost for you. A supervisor's cost is not really there. It generally goes into the overheads. But if for a small site or a small value of the project, you will not be able to afford this. So it is better that you identify this as an issue and discuss it with the customer, and make that point, and make the whoever is a supervisor available at site whenever it is required, and but not when throughout the period of the project. This is very, very important. I would like to keep a note of it. And then second thing is, when a person is allocated to a particular project, that person should know everything about the project, should understand the project. What is this project all about, including the materials, including when are the material expected, what is the approved make for this material, is the technical submittal completed, are there any specific conditions that are there, specific requirements are there. Without all these things, if you just dump one new person there, or keep changing the people there into the project, then it is not good, either for the customer or for the projects. In the long run, it will suffer very, very badly. This is something that I've been seeing in many projects. I know that there are certain limitations for every organization, but as much as possible, please ensure that there is continuity in the project. Inventory management. Inventory management is a major subject in majority of the projects. Majority of the sites, when we start working, are in the construction stage. In the construction stage, they simply say that, whatever the material you might have supplied, we may pay you, but the safety of the material is in the contractor's scope or the dealer's scope. In such scenario, what happens is, how do you make sure that the inventory is safe out there? And how do you order out whatever is the right material required at the right time? So there is always a catch-22 situation. Should I send all the quantity at once and save the cost on my transportation? Or should I send only part of it, and then if whenever it is required, I will share it, which means that I may save the from the risk of losing the material, but at least I will, but at the same time, I will spend more on the cost of transportation. Also, sometimes it may not be available also. So this is a catch-22 situation that we need to maintain. And for that, my recommendation is to ensure that you have, as much as possible, the right quantity of the inventory available at site at the beginning itself, based on the drawings that are finalized. That will help you to complete the project quickly and get out of it. Then the third part is measurement. This is one area where I have seen several projects failing. Measurement means whatever is the quantity required only is ordered, number one. Whatever ordered only reached site, number two, delivered to site, number two. And whatever is delivered only erected, number three. And whatever is erected, you are paid for it. So all these four have to be same. If there is any deviation, then you need to catch that at the earliest before it is too late. The moment it is delayed, you will not be able to do anything later on after the false ceiling is done, after the erection is completed, after the work is over. Nobody will be interested to go back and dig back, and the contractor or the dealer will be losing heavily on this. So measurement is one area where many people don't take it till the last moment, and sometimes they may even want to play with the measurement, but that's not a great idea in my opinion. You please be transparent with respect to this. Then the subcontracting. The subcontractors are the lifeline of our business. Without subcontractor, we are not in the business at all. At least particularly in this geographical region, they are our lifeline. So my sincere request is, don't treat them as a subcontractor, but treat them as part of your project, as an extended arm of your own organization, and treat them at par with your own employees. Then you will get the best out of them. Otherwise, what happens is, I've seen several times, when they ask for small material, we don't say, we say that no, it is not in my scope of work, it is in your scope of work. And that fellow will leave the project and then go to Raniganj or some other place and start to get that material. It will take 2 days time. Who is going to lose the 2 days? For that, you have to keep your supervisor, you have to keep all the other things, and then it's a simple waste of money in the other side. But just because it is in your contract, you will wait for the subcontractor to bring it. So wherever possible, try to talk to the subcontractors, find out what are the difficulties, find out what are the challenges, and see to that they don't waste time or they don't sit idle because of any reasons. And the beauty of the project management or the project manager, the capability of the project manager comes out only when he is able to identify these kinds of requirements ahead of time and identify what needs to be done ahead of time, and then putting those things back onto the project. Then that will be a successful project in my opinion. Quality and safety again, already our friend Kalyan has given in detail what needs to be done. I would definitely love to talk about quality. Quality is the first thing that gets compromised whenever there is a change in scope, or there is a pressure from the customer or pressure from anybody to complete the project in a short time. So quality is the one which gets into this. My sincere request to you all is, whoever is a project management role or a supervisor role or an execution role, please ensure, go through the specifications that are given for the project. The customer is paying for that particular specification. Except when you don't have material for that particular specification, bring it to the notice, take alternative approval, and then submit or supply the other material. Otherwise, as much as possible, the material that is going in to the project, it is our responsibility to ensure that the quality of that material meets the specifications of the project. Not only that, there are certain organization requirements, expectations about how you execute a project, how you do a piping, how you do a welding, how you do an insulation. What are the precautions that you take, or before you do the insulation? How do you clean the pipe? All these things are very, very important, and these are all the quality. Many I have seen the current supervisors and engineers also. I've seen, the moment they give the project to the subcontractor, they think the work will be done. Yes, the work will be done by them, but it is our responsibility to ensure that they are following the process. They are doing the things in as per the quality that we are identified with. So if you don't, and I would like to make one simple statement here. People don't remember how fast you completed the project. I repeat, people don't remember how fast you completed the project, but people will definitely remember what is the quality of your project. So please understand this particular point. Don't come under pressure for the time. Even if there is pressure under the time, quality should not be compromised. Period. Safety should not be compromised. That's it. So if you compromise in any of these things, then you don't know where you will fall later. So the regulatory activities, as Kalyan was telling, whether it is a small project, big project, whether the customer is insistent or not insisting, please follow the regulatory activities. They are very, very essential, and they are for the organization purpose, and they are for the taking care of our business in the long run. Please don't compromise on any of these three things that we have discussed. Brocha's law. Project management is about applying common sense with uncommon discipline. This is, this particular law, I keep reading it at least every month, twice or thrice, because I love this, this particular quote. Project management is about applying common sense with uncommon discipline. Common sense is not so common these days, unfortunately, and discipline is also uncommon these days. So if you want to do a project successfully, get them both back to our nature. Our nature is, to have common sense. Our nature is to have a systematic and disciplined work. So get back both, and I'm sure that, the discipline and the common sense will make the project successful. Again, whenever I talk about project processes, I go back to the PMI, PMBOK. It's very, very simple processes. There are 5 processes in total. Very simple to remember as well. First one is initiating process. Second one is a planning process. Third is executing. Fourth is controlling. And if you really look at, the planning, executing, and controlling, there is a loop in the whole process. And finally, the project closing process. So we will go through each one, in a while. Project initiation phase. This is the first phase, or project initiating phase. This is the first phase. What are the different activities that are there, and what are the deliverables during this period? Project is kicked off. You identify a project manager during this period. There is a project manager. You identify what is the scope of work you have listed down. You already have, a clear-cut work order or a PO with you. You know what is the scope. Then you have a construction drawings. You go back and see whether you have executed a similar project earlier, whether there are any risks that are identified. Excuse me. Any risks in the sense, what kind of risk this project can have. Project can be delayed by what are the reasons why the project can be, delayed, or the cost can be changed, or, the timelines may be affected. So risk is anything which is having an uncertainty. Risk means more or less it is an uncertainty. And what is that you identify as a risk? If you are able to list down the risk in a risk matrix, prioritize them, and arrive at a kind of risk mitigation or risk clarity, then you will be able to attack that particular project. For example, a cold storage you are doing at 5 degrees C, which probably you might not have done earlier, or you are doing it with the first time, or you are doing with an ammonia, which you are not done earlier. So then what is that? That's a big risk, because you don't have enough knowledge about it, or you are working on some other new compressor or new technology or a new area where you are working. So these will be risks. So under this condition, you need to identify what are the risks and list down the priorities and how you are going to manage those risks. Majority of the times you have a mitigation plan for risks, and sometimes you just need to live with the risk. I mean, currently what are we doing? the COVID-19, we took care for the 2 months. Then we realized that, it is something that, it is beyond control now, and we have to live with it. So that is a risk that we are going to live with it, at least till the new vaccine is found. So that's a risk. But the moment a risk is known, then what happens is there is a certain confidence level that comes in. Certain precautions that if you take, okay, you can mitigate this risk. So that will help us to go about the project in a better fashion, rather than a completely unknown thing. Suddenly if right in front of you some animal, some tiger, or some cheetah stands, and so you will be shocked. You don't know what to do. So rather than that, you have a risk, an uncertainty, but something you have anticipated, then it is much easier to handle. Next is, communication. Communication, how are you going to communicate on the project? You list down what are the employee health, safety guidelines that environment, health and safety guidelines, you list down. What are the things that you are going to follow? And again, I repeat, as Kalyan said very wisely, let us take from him. Whether the customer is demanding or not, follow this, period. Then, only when you, as a leader, as a senior project manager, if you do it, then everybody will follow. If you don't follow, you cannot expect your team to follow that. Then budget, scope, timelines are frozen. That is what I guess it would have done, before once you got the PO. Quality guidelines, whatever the statutory mandatory requirements are there, you see them. Then we go into a planning phase. Before planning phase, please understand work expands to fill the time available. That means, if you give work to somebody, he will keep on working, but there should be some time limit, right? So there should be planning done. Any project without an established due date will take an infinite amount of time. We can keep on working. There is no problem at all. That is called Parkinson's law. So you might have seen, even in your office also, some people will come in the morning and they just spend their time till evening without even doing anything. So they're experts in doing that. So that is also that also comes under Parkinson's law. Project planning phase. Technical submittals, deviations, you have to submit to the customer. Drawings should have been, drawings, we start drawings, ducting, piping, plant room drawings, copper piping, where to keep the location, equipment location and everything. Measurement takeoff, then give the ducting quantities to, the ducting manufacturer. We hardly manufacture ducting at site today. So having a proper drawing, proper measurement and takeoff is very, very important. Communication plan, bill of quantity, schedule, milestone, everybody should be at the same page. And so you plan various things during this period. Meeting schedule, all these things will be. So if you look at, the project time management, you first define the activities. This comes from the scope. Then you sequence those activities, estimate the activity resources, who's going to do what. Then what is the activity duration, timelines, and then develop a schedule based on the dependencies, based on the prerequisites that you have. So all this, then you schedule it, and this takes at least 2 or 3 iterations before you finalize a complete schedule. I am actually going a little fast on all these things because I know that this may not be of great interest to the dealers. So because they will be working out on timelines like 1 week, 3 days, or 7 days, or even 10 days. So that is why I'm not putting much time. So I would like to spend more time on the question answer session at the end, where I can answer any specific question that you might have. Project execution phase. This is the phase which is actually very, very important. The key phase here. The assumption here is that the drawings are approved, the construction details are given, drawings are released for construction. The same drawing is available with you as well as with the architect or the project engineers at the construction site. and the project schedules are available. There is a stand-up meeting every day to look at, what is going on, whether the site is ready, site readiness, power, water setup, safety, health rating, all these things are completed. As he was telling, the safety trainings on a regular basis need to be taken. Then comes the material delivery. Material delivery, as I told earlier, please deliver material as per the takeoff measurement, takeoff quantity. Don't try to deliver based on the order quantity, because if you deliver it based on the order quantity, the excess quantity may have to be taken back. And majority of the times, once the material is returned from a site, it generally doesn't go to the next site. So it goes into scrap. So please ensure that, material is delivered. That also actually is a problem, because if you send more material than required, you are actually, playing with your financial cash flow statement. So that means your cash flow will be seriously affected. Then the tools and tackles, whatever the tools and tackles that are required, please note down, list down, and send all these things only through DAN or delivery node. Or because majority of the times what happens, tools and tackles are sent through a manual DC or something, and then later on nobody bothers where those tools and tackles are. These are all expensive, and these are all very important for different projects. So please have a track of those tools and make them only as returnable basis only, unless unless it is there in the contract as paid for it. So delivery notes and material receipts, this is something very, very important. From time to time, you need to check what is the material delivered, what is the material erected, whether there is, site is ready to accept the material, accept the project execution. And even if you have to send material little earlier, then there is enough safety space. Without that, please, this is what is the art of project management. That's what I was talking about. This is the art of project management. We tend to deliver material as soon as possible because we will get the revenue for it. We'll get at least the payment for the Agnes supply. But at the same time, also make sure that they are safe at site. Quality assurance, quality control, I think we have already discussed on this. Scope, revision, budget, time, schedule revision. This is what happens, if the project is getting completed in the time allocated for it, then everybody will be happy. But the moment, there is a delay for whatever reason, then, everybody loses interest and the BOQ gets revised, the scope gets revised, budget gets revised, and this goes into a constant loop. So please be a little, focused on at the time during the erection and complete it. Do everything to influence the completion of the project as much as possible on time. Installation, testing, and commissioning. These are very, very important thing. And please take a complete note of installation, commissioning. Here, one important thing is if the customer is having a PMC, fine, but if they don't have a PMC, it is very important for us to inform the customer what are the things that we expect from a customer before we completely install the systems and start commissioning the system. We can't just like that go and commission the system just because we have completed our erection. There are certain things that we require from customer, like the power, incoming power, the cabling, the earthing, and so many other things that are required, like the fall ceiling, so many. So all these things we need to have a proper discussion, proper communication, and it cannot be a last minute information to them or a shock to them. So please start telling them right up front. There will be a lot of discussion during the project also, like opening of the walls, ceilings, whose scope it is, getting the several other things, whose scope it is, that will be, getting the ladders or something, these all will be discussed during the project, and they can lead the entire project into a delayed status. So please get these things completed. So perfection is achieved not when there is nothing more to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. So this is very, very important when you are doing execution of the project. Do it as if, that is your own project. You are only going to live in that particular place. So unless we do that with that kind of a professionalism and perfectionism, we may not be able to retain the customer. So getting onto the monitoring and controlling phase, project monitoring and control phase. If the project is just about a 1 week or 10 days, probably, you will be doing this monitoring on a daily basis or an hourly basis. Or if the project management, if there is a project manager from the customer side is a little volatile, then you may be doing this even on an hourly basis. So project management and control is an important activity during a project. Regular project review meetings have to happen. Project meeting minutes have to be taken up. Progress should be taken. Action items should be listed. We should start the next project meeting only by reviewing the previous project meeting minutes. From there, it should start. What are the action items? Who's going to complete them? Who was supposed to complete get them completed, then approved, whether it is done or not. So that is the first activity during the project review meeting. And of course, because of which, if there are any deviations in any of these TCS, time, cost, or scope, then what happens? There will be revisions, and revisions have to be approved in writing by the customer. Majority of the time, because of the urgency of the project, we tend to accept their verbal approval as an acceptance and keep going. And at the end of it, once the project is completed, many people come back and say that, you should have told me that this is going to cost so much. I never thought it is 25% deviation from the scope. Why it is going so much? And they require a lot of explanation at that time. At that time, you tend to be losing. You tend to be in the losing side. So please make sure that you don't do any change. Don't make any change unless it is given in writing. Of course, the risk is there. If somebody wants to take the risk, you can always take it. Then running bills and payment, the kind of pressure that we have on the work will not be there normally on the running bills. So it's in our interest that we get the running bills done, approved, and submit the material measurements also correctly, and seek for payment. So nobody is doing any favor if we are submitting bills, or if somebody has to make us a payment, they are not making any favor. It is against the material that we have delivered or completed, or as per the contract that they have to pay, they will pay. So there is nothing, no need to be feeling bad about it, or feeling that he's customer, how can I ask? No problems at all. Absolutely no problem. Another important thing about communication, I would like to quote one Graham's law here. If they know nothing of what you are doing, they suspect you are doing nothing. This is applicable in a long run, in a long duration project, or even in a short duration project for that matter. Communication is the key. Communication is the key. Again, I repeat, if you don't communicate, even if you have completed, the other people may still be having a lot of doubt. So it is better to communicate early, communicate completely, and communicate appropriately. So these are very important things that, with respect to communication. Majority of us, particularly, with respect to the kind of people that we have at the project sites, they all have a feeling that, we'll not be able to communicate in English, we'll not be able to communicate in writing. So we don't have good writing skills, or we don't have good reading skills. So how do we go about? No problem at all. Absolutely no problem. Use your local language and communicate. But the information has to reach the right person. That is all it matters. There is nothing that you have to write only in a proper grammatical English. That's not what is communication. Communication means whatever I am trying to tell, whatever I am going to convey, you understand it exactly the same way. That is what is communication. So you don't need to worry about the different things or the lack of your expertise in English or anything. You just need to communicate, but communicate honestly, communicate at the right time. And sometimes, we try to hide things. We try to keep away from customer. Sometimes, okay, we know that the material is going to get delayed by 2 days. Customer is already, on top of the voice. And so we just
Chetan, is it audible?
Yeah, it's audible. I think there is a connection
sorry,
issue.
I'm lost. Am I audible now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I lost the connection suddenly. I think
Oh, okay.
power cut suddenly here, so technical glitch. Sorry about that. So we were here, project closure meeting. Okay. Yeah, project closure phase. We were at this phase now. So project closure phase is the final phase of the project. This is as important as the project kickoff or the project initiating phase. So we have to look at what we have achieved versus what we were supposed to achieve. So this is a very important thing. This will become like a knowledge repository for the organization. So you will write down what are the things that went wrong, that went right, and what are the lessons learned, and so on and so forth. That will help the organization to keep updated, and also can give the strength to go and do the marketing. So what are the key risks that happened during the project that got hit and all that. So key stakeholders that got involved, financial closure, snag list. Snag list is another thing, it goes on and on in many projects. That is something that I would like all of you to really have a look at it. In my opinion, if you have done your project management correctly, the snag list should be completed within 2 to 3 days time. It should not be, there should not be more than 4 or 5 items on the snag list. If there are more, then there are many things that you can infer. One is the customer is very is going through the minute things that you did not do it in the first place, or that you overshot, or you did not think about those things in the first place. So in either case, it is not good to have a long snag list. Complete it as soon as possible. Testing and balance results, you make that as a document, hand it over to, so that everybody is clear of what was planned, what was achieved, and you hand it over in a better fashion. That will also help you to do the guarantee or the warranty that you might have given. That also will help you. Lessons learned and celebration. Celebration again, is very important for the project. Whenever there is a completion, please celebrate it. Don't delay it. Who knows, tomorrow another virus may come. So celebrate today. So this is a slide on the talent triangle of project management, PMI. As I told you in the beginning also, the project manager needs to have different characteristics. One of them is, technical project management. You should be very, very technically solid. Strategic management, leadership. These are the three different dimensions that a project manager should be having. So technical, I know, more or less we find the people with the technical knowledge, but when we are recruiting people into the projects, when we are making them as supervisors or project managers, we need to give them enough training on leadership, enough training on financial for non-finance managers, what is a cash flow, how to go about the safety strategy, and these things. You need not be an expert. You need not be going and doing a big strategy here, but at least to handle the projects and ensure that there is a cash flow and realize the profit margin that we have estimated earlier. The three things should be in sync. So in my opinion, a project manager dons the following roles at the same time: as a decision maker, as a coach, as a facilitator, as an encourager, as a power broker, as a disciplinarian, as a salesperson, as a financial person, and of course the technical knowledge that you already have, and as a resource person, resource manager. So many things that that a project manager needs to understand. And that is why I tell you the project management role is a very, very dynamic role, very challenging role. Every day is a new challenge. Every project is a very interesting project, provided project manager thinks it is a challenge. If you think that, okay, this customer is bad, that customer is bad, then nobody can help anybody. I somehow, my experience of 30 years says that there is no customer who is bad. I know that a few people may not like this statement, but when I say there is no bad customer, for the simple reason, all customers are spending much more money, much more time than how much we spend on that particular project. So it is their interest to complete the project on time. It is their interest to complete their project within the budget. So somewhere we need to understand that particular point and align with their objectives to get the project completed. Otherwise, we get into a conflict zone, and when we go into a conflict zone, there is no end to it. Enthusiasm is at the bottom of all progress. With it, there is accomplishment. Without it, there are only alibis. So with this, I stop at this point of time for any questions and answers, please.
Prasad Garu, bad.
Yes, sir.
You are talking about the bad customers. In my opinion, as you said, there will be no bad customers. I do accept it. We have to, when we are finalizing the order, the bad, not the customers. When you are finalizing, ourselves are the bad when we are agreeing for the payment terms.
Right.
We should be beware of the payment terms. On the enthusiasm and everything, we will lift the orders. Then the payment terms are not right means. Who told to accept for 60 days credit, 100 days credit? After 60 days, 100 days, I don't know customer, which company is going in the shares, coming down, we don't know. So why to accept the credit conditions? That is my this one.
Right.
Adding to your point.
Also add one more point there, Srikanth. You really said the right thing. One more point there, Srikanth, is when you are accepting whatever the customer is saying, then you don't have a right to tell that customer is bad. Simple as that. And you have to educate. You have to educate your sales team. You have to educate your people at the ground who are going to finalize. Also to do a kind of customer validation, customer profiling, I would call it. See, just like pre-qualification that a customer is asking for a vendor or a contractor, and you fill in all the details and submit it, you also need to do a pre-qualification for your customers. If you don't do this, then what happens is majority of the times we fall into the trap. Any other questions, please?
There is a question from YouTube.
Yeah.
Mr. Kapil Jain has asked a question. Can you let us know any software to help in project management?
There are several softwares that are available on project management, and we are using the one METS software as a tool for project management. METS is completely, it also has a lot of features into that, and I know that many people are also having several other tools on the project management. If it is only project scheduling, MS Project can do it. MS Project has a lot of facilities in that. And if MS Project is licensed, then Project Libre is another tool which can be used for very similar to MS Project, which will also help complete the project. In addition to that, I don't know, how many of us really use Excel sheets as Excel sheets. If you go to Excel sheets and look for templates, there are several project templates in Excel sheets. So a simple Excel sheet can also be used for the projects. I hope I have answered the question. Kapil Jain.
Yeah, you have answered. And Ketan, any other questions in the?
No, these were the questions. Kapil Jain has asked, and Radiant HVAC has also asked the same question. So these were the only two questions.
Okay.
Great, sir. Thank you very much. If you have any other questions also, please do let me know. In this time, my sincere request and kind advice is, please be careful about the payment terms. Please be careful about the financial discipline that we need to have, particularly with respect to cash flows. Cash flows, today the person who has cash is the king. Not in the bank, not elsewhere, not in some investments, but cash in bank, cash, liquid cash that you have is the king. So kindly follow that rule, and don't make your suppliers suffer. Don't make your subcontractors suffer. This is very important. Please take care of them. And also during this period, a lot of your own employees will be going through more or less emotional disturbances. Please take care of them. First is human beings safety, then we can do business. If they are happy, if they are taken care well during this period, I'm sure that they will come back and work with double their efficiency to compensate for whatever the loss of 2 months or 3 months that we have.
Okay, Prasadji, there is one more question from Radiant HVAC. Can you suggest any right person for purchasing software, project management software?
At this point of time, I don't know. There are a lot of tools available. Depends on that which tool that you have. So I will talk to Sandeep and update him.
Personally. I hope Sandeep is not asking these questions. Sandeep staff is asking these questions.
Okay, then if there's
Thank
nothing,
you,
RATA for giving me this opportunity and Israel for giving me this opportunity. I wish you all the success.
Thank you very much, Prasad Garu. I'm seeing the participants up to 50. I have seen hardly 4 are from Hyderabad, because from Hyderabad already 10 days back you have taken one same session. So all over India, I'm seeing from different names. 50 names are different from all over India. Now you have become a famous in all over India.
No.
Thank you for that. And it was a very good presentation, sir. Thanks. I think Mahir is not there. Thanks for Mahir to join. And thank you everyone who has joined in the Zoom. We have sent to little bit on the Zoom link, and the Facebook, YouTube also. Thanks for the YouTube viewers also. I'm very much thankful to you. Observe it, and it will be available in the live from tomorrow. You can this link can be uploaded, and you can see the same session tomorrow. Not live, recorded message.
Thank you,
And
Kalyan.
thank you very much, Kalyanram.
Thank you all for the opportunity and thank you for the great show by Prasad. I think I just started a bit and Prasad has fueled it very much and done a great job. In fact, it is the second time we are hearing, but it looks new to me. Even
For
though
me, it's the third time.
yeah. So,
Right, sir, it is very interesting, sir. Small side changes your it was there.
I keep changing it every time.
Yeah. Change the leadership.
Okay.
Actually, now every time I'm very concerned. Project engineers should have the leadership qualities.
Exactly.
That I always tell my young staff, young engineers also, because sir, their senior technician is telling like this, senior technician is telling like that. They will come and complain. And you should be a leader, boss. They will see always compare the technicians will be on the lower. Your salary is very less. My salary is much more. Who are you to tell me? Okay. Some questions will come in practically like this. Technicians will not obey this engineer's words also. What do you know? I know Srikanth sir from 10 years. You are just okay.
Okay. Chalo, leave.
Thank you very much. Thank you, every
Thank
viewer.
you very much, sir. Thank you very much.